Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Democracy 3 Africa. My name, of course, is Orbital Potato, and I am so unbelievably stoked to continue playing this game as Mauritius. We are trying to sort out all of our country's problems and being mediocrely successful in doing so, I would say. Pretty happy with the way that things are going. We're trying to tackle this uncompetitive economy by increasing productivity, and we're trying to do that through increasing technology and also increasing education, which we tried to really give a nice big boost through using university grants. And yeah, that's pretty much how things are going, I guess. Like that has been the main focus of what is going on. We've spent pretty much all our political capital in the last episode. If you haven't seen that, then go check it out because it was a good one. You know, both of the first episodes have been really good ones. I've liked them a lot, but you know, I'm biased as opposed I recorded them. Anyway, let's return to government. We're running a small budget surplus. It's, you know what, as long as we're running some sort of a surplus, then our credit rating isn't going to go any lower. It's not going to get any worse. Our credit rating is not going to get any worse. We're not going to have to pay any more money back to you know, the people that we borrowed money from. Women's Society is actively encouraging members to oppose the government. That's fine. We'll take that. Let's continue to have a little look here. Loyalty of your ministers can best be described as loyal. Their effectiveness is generally considered to be passable. Lovely. You know, that's a great endorsement of any government body if I ever heard one. Your approval rate is disappointing. We believe the polls, if we were really to believe the polls, we'd get 18% of the vote. Not great. GDP is still rock bottom. We are working very hard to try and get this off the ground, but skill shortage is really hurting it. And, you know, we're going to try and get rid of this skill shortage through the increasing of technology and increasing of education, which has been mediocre, but, you know, university grants is going to totally help out so much here, and I can't wait for it to be implemented. Also, the unemployment benefit should be implemented almost fully by now. Yeah, I think one more turn and we'll be ready to fully implement that policy, which is really exciting indeed. So we're trying to tackle a whole bunch of stuff. Most of it can be tackled through, you know, sciences funding or increasing the university grant. That's true, but there's a lot of stuff that cannot be tackled through that mechanism that we need to go about tackling in a very different way. So let's think about it. Environment is not great. You know, let's be honest, the environment is not great at all. Can we get car usage down? We could get car usage down if we increased petrol tax. It does start to hurt our GDP quite substantially, actually. It does reduce car usage a lot, though. So that is something that we could consider, although I'm not really keen on raising that petrol tax, and you know, that'll hurt our GDP, and I'm not a huge fan of doing that. You know, I'm not a huge fan of doing that. Car usage. What else can we use to get car usage down? I think we probably want to get rid of road building. You know, I talked about a couple of episodes ago I think I talked about expanding our road building operations. I don't think we want to do that. I think we just want to cut back on it. You know, totally cut back on it. However, it's really going to hurt our infrastructure. So maybe we don't. Maybe we try the more traditional policies in transport and try and get them down somehow. You know, for example, bus lanes or rail subsidies or something. You know, the trouble is that we don't really have a lot of money to play around with, which is kind of a little bit annoying. Cycling campaign, that might be a nice one. Carpooling campaign. Let's go with a carpooling campaign. It's just a straight reduction in car usage, so you know, it's not exactly going to make a world of difference, but it's going to do a little bit, and you know, doing a little bit is kind of nice. Bicycle subsidies. Yeah, let's go for bicycle subsidies. Again, an increase to health and a little bit of a decrease to car usage. Every little helps, folks. Okay, every little helps, and all of this stuff is, I don't want to say it's costing us nothing, because it is, of course, costing us something, but it's costing us well within our surplus, right? So we're not going to spend more money than we can afford to spend right now. We certainly cannot afford to spend it, right? So this is going to be a little bit more of an expensive measure, but that should be fine. A big reduction to car usage, and actually an increase to infrastructure. That's very interesting. I did not expect that a telecommuting initiative would do just that, but indeed it does. So we can be happy with that. I imagine we've probably spent round about 3 billion of that surplus. So we've still got a little bit more to go. We've also got a little bit of extra political capital to muck around with, but I don't really know what we want to do. We can't go for bus subsidies because that is just too expensive. Fuel standards, no. Biofuel subsidies, no. Bus lanes, I guess we'll do bus lanes. We'll see what happens. It's going to increase bus usage, which is kind of nice. Motorists are not going to like us, but it's also going to increase our infrastructure, which is really, really cool. You know, as I've already talked about, it's a mechanic that I don't really understand. I don't really understand how it works, but I want to play around with it and see what it actually does. I really do. Urbanization, also an interesting mechanic that I've never really played around with. Seems to only affect the number of people, or it seems to only increase membership of the urban group of people, which is very, very interesting, actually. So we can actually convert people almost at will between Earl? No, that was a mixture of urban and rural. So Earl, apparently. No, but it seems that we can, you know, we can shift things. If we want to move people towards the city, then we can absolutely do that. Very interesting indeed. Alright, let's make this decision. Appoint a UN ambassador. Our ambassador to the UN retires this year, and we need to name a successor as soon as possible. Much will be made of whether we appoint a hardliner who sticks up for the country or someone more able to compromise. I mean, patriots or liberal? I think we want to go for a patriot. I think we want to go for a patriot. A supporter of import tariffs. I think we want to go for somebody that's actually popular with foreigners, because, you know, we rely on foreign aid, and that's a mechanic that we don't really understand, but I want to understand it. What is this? Civil service wage parity. Wow, okay, the civil service wage bill can be a large budget liability, but to get the best people to provide top quality services, there needs to be incentives. Low state employee pay will result in worker dissatisfaction and service degradation. Overcompensation will anger those in the private sector who are footing the bill and cause friction when securing government borrowing. Interesting. Interesting indeed. I like a lot. What can we play around with this? I mean, can upset capitalists, which I'm not a fan of doing, personally. How does this lower education? I don't understand how this lowers education. Seems a little bit bullshit. No, I don't really understand how that lowers education, I'm afraid. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. We'll leave that wage parity there for now. I don't think that's a policy that we can cancel. No, it's not a policy that we can cancel. It's one of those policies that you need to, you know, just balance out. Interesting policy, that's for sure. Also, there is indeed limit automated trading. Now, this is something that I usually just get rid of, because it's pretty freaking pointless. I mean, an almost negligible difference on self-employed people. So I think that on the next term, we're probably going to lower that to 0. And it's going to give our GDP a little boost of 1% or whatever. It's not substantial, but it's enough to make a little bit of a difference, I think. Return to government. Oh, ladies and gents, I'd like to thank everybody who's helped me get to this moment right here. Crime-free utopia. Like nowhere else, the citizens of this country can now walk the streets safely and sleep sound in their beds, knowing that crime is practically consigned to the history books. Fan-fucking-tastic. That is awesome. Health is increasing slowly but surely thanks to some of the infrastructure incentives. Well, transport incentives, so to speak, all about getting people on their bicycles, which is kind of nice. Crime is basically negligible. Curb banking bonuses. Interesting thing, we'll get to that later. We're running a small budget surplus of 2.63 billion. Okay, and you know, our debt is going down, right? But something that we need to bear in mind is that sooner rather than later, this global economy is going to peak. And when this global economy peaks, after the peak, it's just down. And when it goes down, well, that is not very good for anybody. So we really need to make sure that we get our GDP up, you know, as soon as possible. And the way that we're trying to do that is through the getting rid of this skill shortage. It seems that technology is just so abysmal at the moment. Science's funding needs to be fully enacted. We really, really, really need to fully enact that. Is there any other science policy that we could introduce? Or a couple of science policies that would help us that are relatively cheap? I don't really know, to be honest. I don't really know if there's any other science policies that would be super effective right now. I think, you know, the Mars program or the space program, both of which are going to cost way, 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 way too much for us. They would be good, but, you know, we don't have the ability to do that right now. And nothing here is screaming to me science. Maybe I'm just in the wrong category. Maybe I'm just in the wrong category, although I'm kind of a little bit doubtful. School vouchers. Could introduce some school vouchers. That might be interesting. International election observers. Ah, awesome. And that can increase our democracy, I take it. That's very cool. Open plan government offices. Eliminate corruption in the workplace. More dangerous to arrange illicit deals or to embezzle public resources. That's kind of interesting. Human cloning grants. We're not to that level. I don't think quite yet. Public religious broadcasts. That's something that we're probably going to do later on, when we are going to pursue our idealistic goals. Idealistic? Technically idealistic, but what I meant was ideological goals, not idealistic. Open plan government offices. Let's see what this does. Corruption is going to be going down, which is what we like to see. Because corruption ain't good for nobody. Ain't good for nobody. How is the environment doing? That's a good question. It's not doing too bad. Well, I say not doing too bad. It's doing pretty bad. Corruption could be lower. Corruption could be lower. Could be higher, I guess. As well. We want to try and just get it down as much as possible, I think. Judicial independence. Okay, so if we raise judicial independence, then that's apparently going to cost us 40 political capital? That is a lot. That is a lot of political capital. And what about, I don't know why I didn't just click on corruption. It's just literally where my mouse is on the main screen. Like, literally here. I mean, that's it right there. I don't know why I didn't click on that in the first place. Why is it so expensive to adjust judicial independence sliders? It doesn't make sense. Legislative independence, again, very, very expensive. So both judicial and legislative independence are both super, super expensive. I don't know about that. I do not know about that. Press freedom as well. So no press freedom is apparently terrible for democracy, but it makes everyone super, super happy. Makes everyone really like us. That is a really, really good mechanic. I like that a lot. You know, apart from liberals. Oh man, I like that a lot. That is a really cool modifier. So, you know, we have to balance our own self-interest in getting re-elected with the needs of the country to have, you know, a fair and open press. Let's do that right now, actually, because I think that we want to reduce corruption. I think that it's gonna help us. You know, it's gonna have knock-on effects, and it's gonna help us, which I'm excited about because I don't know what those knock-on effects are gonna be. Uncompetitive economy. Come on, we need to get rid of some of these bubbles fairly soon. Technology backwaters trending down. Science funding is being implemented, which is great. Skill shortage. It's so close to just disappearing, but not quite yet, unfortunately. Not quite yet. Curb banking bonuses. Socialists, let's not curb banking bonuses, because capitalists don't like us as much as the socialists do, so we can afford for the socialists to get a little bit pissed off. Fantastic. That is great news indeed. Oh my goodness, we've seen the first tiny little bit of movement along the GDP graph, and it has just picked up. Just picked up. That is really, really, really good to see. And let me tell you, our GDP is going to explode as soon as we get rid of all of these negative modifiers for us. Like, really, it's going to explode. I'm telling you, folks. I'm telling you. Journalist is being released from jail, so that's good for democracy. Everybody likes us. Liberals like it. Everybody likes it. Border tensions. Oh, this is an interesting thing. We'll check this out in a second. We are running a small budget surplus, a very, very small one of 1.52 billion. You know, that's alright. That's not bad. But it's not exactly great either, is it? What is going on, buddy? You are... Yeah, we need to talk to you. We might investigate shuffling up the cabinet a little bit later on, but, you know, for now I think things are alright. So why are foreign relations so bad? I mean, we need to improve foreign relations. Foreign liberation movement. Oh yes, I remember that. Stability. We are very, very stable. Our corruption is really, really low. Our GDP is not that bad. This foreign liberation movement, this, yeah, that's what's led to border tensions. That's what I'm pretty much blaming border tensions on, is that, you know, liberation movement camp that we had to make a decision about in the last episode. If you haven't seen it, you should go and check it out. I've already said that, but I'm going to say it again, because why the heck not? Okay, what is this? The protectors of the free market. Well, that sounds like capitalists if ever I heard them. So basically, we just need to try and alleviate some of the capitalists' concerns. And I was honestly thinking that we would try and alleviate those concerns through increasing GDP. And we are. It's just not fast enough, right? It's just not fast enough at all. So there are a couple of things that we can do here. And one of the things that we can do is the... is it the business startup campaign? No, it's not the business startup campaign. Maybe I've already introduced it. It's the young entrepreneur thing. Have we already got the young entrepreneur policy? Is this it? Yeah, we've already got the young entrepreneur scheme. That's a shame. That's a shame that we've already got that one. That is a real bummer, because that would have been really super handy to have help us. Yeah, that's a shame. That is an absolute shame. Game hunting restrictions. This is cool. I like this. I don't know why I'm in tax. It's because I was looking for something that would give capitalists a little reason to like us. Give everybody a little bit of a tax cut. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. And it's good for, you know, religious reasons as well. And the fact that we want to, you know, gradually push for a more religious state. It's kind of nice. Small business grants. Let's do small business grants. This is actually going to help capitalists like us a little bit more. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to like us very much more. Because, yeah, we're not going to be able to invest a whole ton of money into this. Maybe around about 2 billion. 2 billion, I think, is a good place. It's a very, very good place to be. Going to increase GDP by 2.73%, so not an insubstantial increase in GDP, but more importantly, the capitalists are going to be liking us by an extra little 3%. And, you know, technically we are going to go over our surplus, and that is a little bit annoying. Can we go to the next turn? Yes, we can. Yeah, we can. Totally, we can. We're going to reshuffle our cabinet. In fact, we can probably do it this turn, actually. Yeah, I think we're just going to go for a straight-up reshuffle. And then just choose everybody again. Now, this is not a process that I really think is as fleshed out as it probably could be. I think this area is a little bit, you know, it's a little bit, yeah, it's all right. It's not a hugely great way of going about doing things. But it's all right. It works. It's good enough. It's good enough. It allows us to do what we want to do. Socialists really like us, and religious people also like us. So we'll hire you. You're hired, buddy. Welfare. Who wants the welfare job? Trade unionists and parents. Yeah, you know what? We'll take you, I think. Yeah, we'll take you. You're not a bad dude. You're not a bad dude for the job. Economy. Who wants economy? Who wants economy? Youth and trade unionists. I think the trade unionists quite like us. So, here's hoping the trade unionists like us. If they don't, then I may have just picked an entirely inappropriate person for the job. Religious and socialists. Yes, I'll take you. Do trade unionists like us? State employees. Trade unionists. Ah! Yes, not a big fan of us, unfortunately. We need to try and balance this out, if at all possible. Yeah, but we're not going to be able to do that right now. Shit. Alright, well, we need to continue appointing members of our cabinet. That's a little bit annoying. That is a little bit annoying. Youth and capitalists. I'm not a fan of getting a youth, or more importantly, I'm not excited about getting a capitalist on board. That's what I'm worried about. You know, youth, that's fine. It's capitalists that really worries me, because they are not a big fan of the stuff that I'm preaching. They really are not. All right, well, let's just get him. Let's just get him. We've got to have kind of a balanced cabinet anyway, I suppose. Might as well get that guy. All right, next things next. Law and order. Women and liberals. Well, liberals don't hate us. And neither do women, I don't think, actually. Let's see about this. Transport. Transport. Anybody? Transport, trade union, patriots. I think, yeah, I'll take you, actually. Not great, but it's not bad either, you know? It's not bad, and it was definitely a shuffle that was required. Now, we need to try and make sure that trade unionists are actually on our side. What can we do about the right of demonstration? This would help a lot, actually. Let's do that next turn. We'll do that next turn. We need to remember that. Right of demonstration. Right of demonstration. Very, very important policy that we need to change. Power blackouts has ended. Oh my goodness. We're running a surplus, even though we ended up spending all of our surplus on a policy, which I can't remember at this point. Oh, it was the business grants, wasn't it? That's what it was. Yeah, we ended up spending all of our surplus, but now we've got an extra 2 billion to play with. So, you know, it's proving that our economic policy is actually working. And look at our GDP pick up. Look at it pick up. I'm telling you, folks, as soon as this skill shortage is ended, which is going to be at the start of the next turn, we are going to be on to a winner. We are going to be on to a real winner. I tell you that for free. Anyway, ladies and gents, we're going to be continuing in the very, very next episode of Democracy 3 as Mauritius. Hopefully you'll join me then, folks. But until then, bye.